ahead of me, so.
Me too.
Well, anyway, I don't know where Becky is. Oh, there she is.
Okay.
Yeah,
I think that's everybody who responded that they're coming.
I don't see Becky.
She's coming.
There she is.
She's connecting to audio, so she'll be with us in a minute.
Oh,
She's looking serious too. People are like
She's
staring
not
at
looking at us, she's looking at the computer.
me. Okay, Becky. Hi.
Not hearing us.
where is she?
She's connected. She just Becky, can you hear us?
I don't think so.
I don't see her yet.
I see her.
Oh,
Me too.
I have no volume. I can't hear anybody.
Oh, there she
No,
I
is.
can hear you
We
now.
heard her.
Well, we heard you, and I'm recording it.
She can't hear
You
us.
are, ready?
We can't hear her.
Well, why don't we get started while she's trying to get her volume up?
okay.
Marianne, this was your idea. So,
I know. I've been thinking about it, and I thought, how are we going to do this? Keeping it small gives people a chance to share anything. I mean, I feel like I'm not in the Breakfast Club, and you all knew Janet a lot longer than I did, but I just always appreciated how she served us so well. I remember the night of my rehearsal dinner, and she and Kathy Moore did all the dishes in my house. And she just said, that's where I like to be. I don't like to be out front. I like to be keeping busy and doing. And I always felt like that's something I had in common with her in terms of social situations. I don't know if you knew that about her, or you know, I'm sure you saw so many other sides of her because she is so multifaceted and complex, but amazing. So does anyone want to say something?
okay.
You lost Becky.
Yeah, I think she's trying to get her volume. She texted me.
Oh.
So I think she's
Oh, she did. Okay.
will come back. If she get, oh, there she is. Let me see if I can get her. All right. She should be coming in a minute.
So funny to see everybody now.
I know, we all look older.
I can hear you.
Okay, great. Becky can hear us now. All right. Anybody else want to kick in there with a memory? Well, I'll start with one. I was I saw the post that Elizabeth posted about her mom after the ceremony, and it talked about try to enjoy food together and socialize and all that stuff. And it reminded me of a Janet story, so I posted it, and they were very happy. This is why I decided to record this. One year, I was tired of going to Vermont by myself for Christmas, and trudging through the White Mountains and getting snowed on. So I just called my family and I said, hey, I just can't do this. I just can't drive by myself and be worried. So anyway, it was a hard decision, but a few minutes later, my father calls and says, can we come to Boston for dinner? For Christmas? Well, I was thrilled, but then I had no food, so I said, what am I going to do? And I was obsessing and everything. And somehow or another, I don't know who I was complaining to, probably one of you. And Janet calls me and says, I have a frozen lasagna, a large frozen lasagna. You can have it. All you need to do is thaw it out and cook it.
Wow.
So I was like, oh my God. It was like, the best dinner I ever had because it had love all the way around. So anyway, that was, I have a lot of memories, but that one like popped up, and it was so typical of her to be generous like that.
Very.
No dead air space. Anne, I'm calling on you.
Okay. Gosh, there's so much. And I don't know, I have met, since I retired, I met someone who knew Janet from another context, someone who went to high school with her. And I didn't realize we both knew this same woman. They both lived on Bennett Street. And it was just so interesting to connect with someone who knew her in a different way. But it also was really nice to know that there was someone else that shared my love in that way. But in terms of thinking of Janet's stories, was particularly touched at how much she welcomed John into the community, because it was really hard for him to figure out what in the world this contemporary liturgy was. And he didn't get the community part of it. He just totally didn't get it. And they so bonded over food. And it was him volunteering to cook the seders with Janet and learning a lot from her in terms of, you know, how you stuff the garlic in the lamb or whatever. And just realizing how sensitive she was to him needing an in, and always making it with him about the food, which is the love. And then a memory from me is, I don't know if people remember, but at that the little corner there where Arlington and Faneuil intersect, and there was a Cumberland Farm there long before it was Kiki's. And sharing with Cumberland Farm, there was a pharmacy, which has been closed for ages. And after Cara was born, I was having a miserable time trying to breastfeed. And Donna got the pharmacist to open up on a Sunday night so that he could dig through the pharmacy and get an old jar of sheep's lanolin, which was, I guess, the thing that
That was the thing we did then.
old-time mothers knew that was the thing that would save you, and it did. But I always remembered that, and I thought, my God, like, she carried so much weight in this Brighton community that she could get this guy who was not involved in the church at all, but just knew her as, you know, being a strong presence, and, you know, opened up and just gave her the lanolin for me. And it just, you know, it was always finding the way to serve others. And you know, those stories go on and on and on. And I think about the love she showed my kids over the years, that just, that always made them know that they were accepted in a very deep way when they didn't always weren't always feeling loved, and the love was always there. And that was wonderful.
I'm going by your pictures, Pat.
Oh, my last, I stopped in to see Janet, I don't know, a couple years ago. It was the last time I saw her, and I just happened to stop in, and she was out in the back room. I don't know if people saw her when Tom added a.
Uh-oh, we lost you. She's talking and we can't hear her.
Pat, we can't hear you after you started moving around.
She's still telling her story. Can you text her?
Huh? Oh, geez, I don't know. See, I told you.
There you are. Your audio's back.
Okay.
When you
So
started
anyway,
moving around, you-
I visited her, and she was in her room, and the back of the house. Can you hear me now?
yeah.
Yes.
She was in the back of the house, and she invited me in. We had a cup of tea or something, and she was sitting in her chair. She just said, "No, I really don't care about being very social anymore. I really feel like," of course, that was, you know, excluding her family, of course, but, you know, she was happy to see me, and we had a great time and everything, only she just said that, you know, she was really happy to have that room and that space. She did a lot of reading. She was, you know, she did a lot of gardening, and she was just really, really content. She said, you know, that this, at this point that she just really liked, contemplative was really the word that I got from that. But last November, I think it was, I got this from her. Now, this is a birthday card. It's all backwards now, but it's a Peanuts thing.
Mm-hmm.
This is like a little booklet of it says, birthday wishes for a wonderful you. Now, I sent this to her about 5 or 6 years ago for her birthday. And she must have been going through old stuff or something, and she found this. And it says, hi, just buzzing by to say happy birthday to someone who is good looking, extremely popular, highly talented. Now, this is what I thought of Janet, of course, and cheerful and funny and friendly, hardly ever grouchy, pow, and then Lucy's punching Charlie. Helpful and dependable. And generous beyond measure. Now, every single one of these, to me, was the way Janet was, and that's why I was Janet. Incredibly wise, marvelously witty. Let's see now, what else? Happy birthday to wonderful you. And then I wrote her a note. But I loved this, and she sent it back to me. So it was so sweet, it was just the sweetest thing. And it was perfect. It was like this past November. And I probably had sent her up a St. Patrick's Day card or something last year, but I hadn't really seen or talked to her in a long time. But, you're always on the same wavelength, no matter what.
Mhm.
So that's mine.
Marge.
Yeah,
Well-
I've been thinking for days now about any single moment. And I can't. They sort of all collect together.
Yeah.
Into this woman who was just always there. More often doing the right thing, like with you, Donna, or Pat, that she was just loving and giving all the time. And I think just for me, just at times when I didn't really have family, that I would be invited to different functions at her house. And when I think back on that, that's what I appreciate most about that wanting to be, the invitation to include me.
Ditto.
Yeah.
Okay. Lucille, you want to hop in there?
I guess, over the years, I think Janet, I just always saw Janet as really understanding the whole idea of community, and really willing to give herself to it. And, like she was the one who, well, she wasn't the only one, but she was a person who could reach into different branches, kind of sit at different tables there, and really always accepted people for what they were. And I think I've said this to a couple of you already, but the thing that always stands out for me was I was complaining about somebody or something, I don't know what, in my usual arrogant way. And Janet said to me, well, I just think people are doing the best they can. And she said it with like this incredible sincerity that just always stayed with me, that she really saw it that way, that she wasn't, she wasn't looking at people's faults. She really was just taking them where they were and assuming that everybody was doing the best that they could. And for me, that was like amazing, because I'd always been listening to people complain about small things in other people.
Yeah.
So it just was, I just had this sense that she really understood what humility was before I ever understood it, and what unconditional love was before I understood it. And she always seemed to be there to be responsive to whatever need there was. And whether it was just somebody's need for conversation, or she saw the look on my face in church and came over afterwards and asked what's wrong. She just was really tuned in to people, and willing to respond rather than to kind of say, oh, problem there, I think I'll go the other way. So I call that unconditional love. And I think that's what she was about.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Becky, wake up.
Oh, I'm wide awake. I've already been to Boston and back this morning. I have to go in when nobody's out. If I have to go in and do something, I have to go in when there's nobody else in the office. I guess my favorite memory, I've got a couple, but I had, when I was birthing Anna at home with my midwife, she was there and she was present, and she was assisting my midwife. And after everything was all over, Harry Watson was there as well. And he said, wow, I didn't know that having a baby was that easy. And she plowed him. I mean, she almost knocked him over. It was almost comical. If she had an opinion about something, you knew what it was.
Yeah.
It was really a deep honor for me to design and make her wedding dress for her marriage to Tom. And she had a lot of say in it. And she was very clear. She did not want anybody to see that dress ahead of time. And so it was covered in sheets. I mean, nobody was even allowed to come to my house for a while because she didn't want anybody to know anything about that dress. I got to see her a year ago. Janet Jr., I had talked to Janet Jr. at Mike's birthday party and said that they were getting ready to do a surprise 80th birthday party for her. And it ended up not happening because she had to have a hip replacement. And she said, would you go just stop by and see my mom? And I'm grateful I got to do that. We spent 3 hours just talking. And she was very clear that she didn't feel like being social, but she was just doing a lot of reminiscing. And she kind of indicated she was ready to go at that point anyway. And I had fully intended on getting back down there and taking her out for dinner or something, and it just kind of never happened.
Thanks, everybody. We went through 20 minutes, so we have another like 10, 20 minutes before the thing beeps off on me. So if you want to just talk, that's whatever. Yeah, Mary Ann.
I was going to say, when Marge was saying that she was often invited over for functions, that Janet always invited Artie to dinners
Oh, yeah.
as well, because he often didn't have anywhere to go, and he was close with Tom, and her whole family just welcomed him in Christmas times, and
Right.
it's like they just didn't have any boundaries, and that was just always so nice too. So and Artie and Janet have been acolytes at funerals at St. Columkills for years, and so they were still doing that. I know Artie's still doing that, and maybe if we had had a funeral, he would have been her acolyte. I don't know, but that would have been nice. I don't know what the family will do when the time comes. I'm sure they'll have a mass, because she was still so involved at St. Columkills. It was just so important to her.
Yeah.
I used to go over to give respite for her, you know, when Tom was sick. First in Watertown at Donna's house, and then at Bennett Street. They really did a wonderful job there. And so she was probably living just on the first floor by the time, you know, because they made the living room into a bedroom, and she had that beautiful back room. So yeah, I can see why she would, you know, love her home and being there and her family and all that. She also was really close with Kathy Moore. They shared the same like driveway, and
Oh, yeah.
I haven't reached out to Kathy yet, but I'm sure that she's really feeling it, as we all are, but yeah.
Most of my memories of being over at Janet's is everybody sitting around that big table that they had built.
Yeah.
They had 7 kids. And then there was always community things there, and the
Right.
kids coming in and out and watching them grow and everything. And it's like, that was the first thought that came to my mind when I thought about it. I said, wow, all those times we sat around that kitchen table. It
Oh,
took
sure.
up the whole kitchen practically.
It did.
I remember asking her if I could wipe my hands on her dishcloth because I knew that like some people really, I'm not one of those people, but some people really have like 2 separate things. And I remember saying to her, is it okay if I wipe my hands on the dishcloth, or is it just for dishes? And she just like very quickly said, I could get another one. You know, it was like, of course you can. Like, it's just so fast, you know. And I thought about, like, other people would say, oh no, that's just for dishes, let me get you another one, or something like that. But it was just so comfortable with responding to whatever it was.
Yeah,
And sort of tuned into what you know, like, because I think if she had said it differently, it might have hurt, you know, but the way she said it just made me feel so comfortable.
yeah.
I think I was new.
When I first got into the 1045 community, or 930, whatever it was, it was my first experience of a home mass was at Janet's for Al, when Al was sick.
Yep.
And it was just like so incredible to me that anything like this, because all I did with church was just go to church and come back, and go to church and come back. And it was like, wow, you know, I had known I was in the right place, but that was like the cement, you know, it was really cemented with that home mass and praying over Al, and it was incredible. It was just like an incredible experience for me. So Becky, I'm sorry I took over you.
Oh, no, that's fine. That's fine. I was trying to remember where they had a big potluck at her house, and there was a couple that got caught making out up behind her house in that backyard, and they turned on the back light, not realizing that couple was out there making out. Who was that?
It wasn't me.
I'm almost wondering if it was, oh shoot. I can see his face and I can't say his name. Isn't that awful?
Maybe it's better that way.
Probably.
I don't know. I want to know.
I want to know too.
Oh, this is
You'll
driving.
think of it.
Yeah.
Not one of her kids.
His wife is the doctor, and she was a doctor over in Germany.
Oh, Flora.
Flora.
And Gary.
Gary.
Oh, Gary.
Wait, was that who it was? Does
I don't know. You're the
I
one
wasn't
that
there.
told me.
Me either.
All I know is
Anne wants to say something.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I'll put that out.
Wasn't you and Gary.
But what I wanted to say was at Mike's wake, and I'm not certain when that was within the last year.
2 years ago.
I'm sorry?
He died 2 years ago.
2 years, okay. So I remember, you know, talking with Janet there, and she said something really similar to what you said, Pat, that she was just really pulling in. Like she had trouble with the hip stuff, and she said, I'm just like really pulling in. I'm not, socializing. And we had a, like a simple conversation. But then in December, she and Kathy came to a function at the library, an evening speaker. And Janet looked great. The hip had recovered. And afterwards, she came over to me and she said, now I want to have that conversation. And she wanted to know like how all the kids were, asking for everyone, how I was doing, what was I doing in retirement. And I was so like thankful that that I had another chance, to see her, because at Mike's, I really was left with a sense of like her pulling in, and it was just it struck me.
And she was in a lot of pain.
Yeah. And so, seeing her in December it was really good to see that she was again feeling good and she was moving great. And I'm thankful for that.
The last time I saw Janet was when we all got together for breakfast after Mary died.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And it was kind of weird, but, it was almost like time had not passed, except we all looked older. The one thing I do remember that Janet said that time was, she was talking about getting older and all that. So she goes, but it's kind of weird when your daughter goes into menopause.
Yes, I'm sure that's true.
Yeah. So, anyway, so running out of time. This meeting will end.
So many
in 10
little
minutes.
things.
When does this meeting end?
10 minutes. We've got 10 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we can wind down and, end gracefully.
So what's going on with each one of you individually?
Well,
I'm
you know
doing a lot of
me.
art.
Not much.
Mary Ann and I are sharing 3 grandkids.
Yeah.
Everybody, Mary Ann did a somersault.
Oh, you saw that?
I said, yeah, they posted the picture.
Oh my God.
She went to see
It
Sophia.
was Simon Says. Simon Says, Mamie do a somersault. So I did.
She did a somersault out in the front yard of Jim or Anna and Kevin's.
Yeah.
Good.
I was dizzy, very dizzy.
I bet you were.
Becky made
I was
beautiful
impressed.
Becky's making masks and they're beautiful.
The masks. Oh, yeah. I've been
Yeah.
doing the paintings of the Corona series. Since I normally paint plein air, I can't do that now. That's painting outside on site. So I've been doing the virtual webcams, and I've been painting the different, like the beaches empty. I'm in the spring break. I did the Western Wall at Passover. If you're on Facebook or Instagram, you've seen them. But
Donna, your stuff.
I see all your stuff on Instagram.
What?
I see all your stuff on Instagram, and I'm on social media, and one of the things that I'm really struck with, getting back to Janet in a way, is Elizabeth is so amazing.
She is.
She's the most amazing young woman. I can't believe she's on Facebook all the time, seeing.
She's an activist.
She is
Yes.
an activist. You think she's an activist on Facebook? You should see her on Twitter.
I bet.
Well, I don't see her on Twitter as much, but I'm on Twitter, so I'll have to check. But she gets responses, like 50 people comment on things that she says, so she has like these big discussions. It is unbelievable. Donna is on too, and she posts things, and Janet Jr. posts some things too. But Elizabeth is just unbelievable. I'm so proud of her.
Yes.
She's our baby. She was everybody's baby, when Al died, and she just thinks, and she did come back to me at one time and she says, yeah, I heard everything everybody was saying. So it's like she learned from all of us. So it
Yeah.
was just, I mean, that's what she said. She learned from all of us. So it was so sweet that, and of course, Janet was always kind of staying out of the political stuff. So
Right.
of course, I was always jumping into it, and I just think it's so amazing that Elizabeth has just taken over that whole thing.
She does a good job too.
Oh yeah, she's so smart. Oh my God,
Yes.
really smart.
I was so surprised several years ago at our back to school potluck. Doesn't she walk across the schoolyard and say to me, "Hi, Ann"? And I'm like, what? And she had enrolled her youngest child and I in my school. And I was so astounded because, as you're saying, this is the kid that was an infant. And what are you doing
Right.
with a grown-up child, going to school? But she has been in that school also very active. It's very much a community school. And I always thought that she particularly got the school because of her St. Paul's experience. Like,
Right.
people that haven't lived community don't get it oftentimes. And she's been a really strong voice in that community. And it's just been amazing to see that and to see her, as an adult young woman and not this kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Well,
Yeah,
all the kids that grew up in that community have done really well.
Yeah.
yeah, that's true.
There's not a
They have.
bad one in the bunch. Everybody's doing really well.
It's great to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, and I get comments from Jimmy. I always get Jimmy and Jim mixed up, so I'm not sure all the time about which castle it is.
Yeah.
But it's
They are
great.
kind of interchangeable
Great.
sometimes.
I think he's Jim Sam. Jim Sam.
Huh?
Why is it called Jim Sam?
Jim Sam.
Because
Why?
his name is James Samuel Castle, and he's a third, and the baby is James Samuel Castle the fourth. So instead of having another Jim, they called him Sam. So he just did Jim Sam to
Yeah, distinguished.
align it with his son.
Okay, so Jimmy is still Jimmy.
Yep, he's still Jimmy.
He's not Jimmy to too many people.
Well, that happens when you get older and people knew you as a kid. They still call you.
Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Jim, Jimmy, and Sam at this point. They all have the same name.
Okay, I don't know. I still don't know who's who, but I did respond to one of them.
Well, Jim Castle is Jim Castle on Facebook, and Jim Sam is Jimmy on Facebook.
Oh, okay, so it was Jim. Yeah, I thought it was Jim, but
Yeah.
That's how you can tell the difference.
yeah, it is. It's great though. And I see Mariam all the time. Of course, she's on all the time. And it was Mary's anniversary. Has it been 4 years? 5? How long has it been
6.
with Mary? 6 years?
6 years?
Oh my God! I know it was the anniversary, and she put something on there.
Wow.
And Mariama posted a picture of an altar she did for
Janet.
Janet and Mary.
That was a nice tribute.
So I did one too. I've got a little one here in my bedroom that I put the card on. Janet, it was I couldn't believe that she sent it back to me. Anyways, great. It was great.
We got 3 minutes, so maybe we should just say goodbye so it doesn't, it just cuts off at the end.
Yes, I know. Right in mid-sentence.
This was fun. Well,
Thank
Yeah.
you, Donna.
it was
for
nice to see
organizing.
everybody. And we
Yeah,
can
it's good to
certainly
see
do it
you all.
again while we're in Corona isolation if you want.
Yeah.
That would be a good idea.
We could do breakfast.
Fun for me to get back in touch with everybody.
Yeah, breakfast, that would be fun. Eat
Right.
breakfast.
Zoom breakfast, sounds good.
I think that sounds like a plan.
You
One
can
of my
send me
favorite-
bagels.
I can't resist this. One of my favorite parts of breakfast was when we were eating these omelets and Pat would cut it open in the middle and she'd say, that's the best part, so you might as well eat it first.
I don't even remember that at all.
You would,
You
instead
still
of
do
getting
it.
edge, which was, like crispy, you'd cut right through it and get a nice piece in the middle with all the cheese.
Yeah.
I love that Mandy and Joe's omelet. That one one egg cheese omelet I ordered every single week.
All right, I'm
I'm
gonna
just
end the meeting
amazed I
now,
don't-
so.
You
Thank you,
guys stay
Donna.
safe,
Thank you,
please.
Donna.
Thanks, Donna.
So
Yes,
Saturday morning at 9:30, is that it, Donna?
I'll check the schedule and see. See if I have
Okay,
anything.
bye.
Okay,
Bye,
count me
Take
in
care. I'll
whenever
send you
you're
a
ready.
link.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
There.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Donna.